Hi everybody, we're back for part 2 of the Naruto drawing. We got our outline going, we got some little bit of refining going on, we've got some placement marks for his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. So let's dive right into it. Let's get this mouth done, okay? On Naruto, you know, he's kind of like he's a little bit what we would call impish. He's always kind of doing his own thing. He gets in trouble a lot. He kind of goes a little crazy sometimes and does stuff he's not really supposed to do. So he's got these little upturned corners on his mouth. And then this line goes like up just a tiny bit, then down in the middle, then up again just a tiny bit, and then down toward the side like that. So he's got this kind of a little bit of a smile on his face, like he's up to something. He's always doing something like that, where he's probably either going to get in trouble or get in a fight with somebody, right? So the reason we did this little line here with these two little dark circles, because we're gonna go around the top of that circle, make a little line there, and go up and around that circle like that. And that's it. We're gonna use a little bit of shading. We can take our pencil and very lightly color around that, and make sure this isn't square here, because we don't want that. We don't want square corners on that. Let's make this a little bit more rounded like that. But that's it. That's all we're doing for the nose, okay? You can add, there's a little bit more shading. Like if you hold your pencil almost level with your desk or the table that you're working on, just barely color super light, okay, underneath there. Make sure you erase your little reference mark that goes right above his top lip there, okay? That's all we're doing for the nose. Alright, then for the eyes, we drew these little super light marks right there. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the very top of that rectangle and do not a half circle all the way, but a part of a circle there. We're going to do the same exact thing over here, part of a circle, okay, and then we're going to keep going around super light, okay? Don't press down hard, because you might need to move this eyeball. I don't always get it right the first time I draw it. I might sketch it in the wrong place. So if I do, that's okay. I don't freak out about it. I just erase it a little bit, and I keep drawing. I keep going, okay? Notice how I've turned my paper upside down. If you have to do that, then do it. If that makes it easier. There's no rule in art that says, oh, you can't draw with your paper upside down. That's wrong, or that's cheating. That's called being smart about it, okay? So you see how I did that? I kept going little by little, sketching, holding my pencil way back here toward the middle, very lightly going around, coming up here to the top of that part, top of that line, around. I'm not touching that bottom line. It's that bottom line. You might not be able to see it great on camera, but that bottom line across where I drew across where the triangles of his ears came down and met his head, about right there. That's not where his eyeballs come down to. The pupils of his eyes, or the irises. There's actually the irises. That's the part that has color. those don't come all the way down to that line, okay? But they start at that top line. Alright, then in the center, squiggle, 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 squiggle. See, I'm super light. Start out just swirling your pencil around little circles like that, and just keep going until you've got a decent sized circle. And that gets colored in, by the way. It looks creepy with the center not colored in. A little bit creepy there, Naruto. So, around, okay? And I know he looks all crazy, but he's not going to look crazy for long, okay? Where we've got these bottom lines here, they're actually just a little bit curved upward, okay? See that? Tiny bit, not much at all, okay? Then we're going to draw a curved line on the outside of his eye, about that far away. Same thing over here, curved line, okay? Not quite up to that top line. This one actually goes up a little tiny bit too far, like that. Then we're going to draw this line curved around and touching the top middle of his eye. Same thing here. Curve around, touching the top middle of his eye like that. And then we're actually going to kind of cut off that top corner that we just drew. Kind of cut off that top corner that we just drew. And we're not going to go all the way down to that reference line. We're just going to come down to almost the bottom of our eyeball, but not quite. We're going to stop right before we get there. And then this line is a little bit of a curved line that connects those two at the corner, okay? And we're going to erase those top corners because that's looking super creepy. Alright, erase the top corners. And then we have eyebrows. He's got these fierce kind of eyebrows. Actually starts a little bit further in. His eyebrows start about right here. Yeah, like that. Okay, so draw these two little lines. See if right in the middle, that middle line that we drew that bisects his face, if you kind of put your finger on it right there, of course your finger might not be as big as mine or as wide as mine, but those two little lines go right outside that and line up with right about where his pupils are, okay? And then make a check mark out of that one, and then make a check mark out of that one, okay? Backwards check mark. And then we're going to make a curved line there, a curved line there, and then we're going to go up to the headband, and we're going to make this kind of a thick line like that. Same thing over here, but this one kind of touches the top of his eye as it goes up to the headband, okay? Kind of like that. Alright. Next step is we're actually going to lower these corners a little bit. In other words, curve that line down like that to meet that corner of his eye. And then we're going to make that pretty dark right there across the top of his eye. This line here needs to be pretty thick, not like super thick, but noticeable. Okay, noticeable down to here, down to this little corner here, and out to the corner. It goes to a point like that, and then just a little bit on each side like that. Okay, and then we can also make his pupils just a little tiny bit bigger. They're not quite so tiny, little bit bigger like that. And then he's got a little triangular white, it's a white triangle, and what we're going to do is we're going to barely press down and make these two triangles. But later on when we color, we are going to completely erase these lines. Of course, I erased a little tiny bit of my triangle there, but this is the highlight. Okay, around his eyes is dark blue, then it gets a little bit lighter blue, and then it's got the black in the middle. But this part is white, and so that little triangle part is white. Okay, so you can erase this part where his eye is really supposed to be white. Okay, so now you've got the eye that comes around, and there's like a little shark fin inside of it. Okay, same thing over here. Eye is going to come around, and there's a little shark fin, and then it keeps on going up like that. Okay, if you erase any of your lines, just put them back. You know where they are. Alright, one more thing we've got to change on the eyes is this corner here. We're just going to make them a little bit more rounded. Okay, we had the line curving like that. We still need that line kind of curving like that, but we don't need those sharp corners. Okay, he's also got 3 little lines on each side of his face, and what I do is I draw the bottom 2, kind of make sure they're even-ish, as even as I can kind of get them, and I'm drawing what? Super light, right? Super light, in case I mess up. This last line, about right there, it's about the same length as the other one, a little bit longer, about right there. Okay, and now we can erase let's get rid of our reference lines before we forget to, and then it gets in our way. Alright, erasing the reference lines all the way across his face. There's one inside the eyebrow there. Got rid of that. The ones outside here on top of the eyeball. Like that. Okay. Redo any places that you erased through, but you really want to make sure they stay there, because it's going to mess up your drawing if you don't. Okay, and let's do, he's got His neck comes down like this. And he's also got a line that goes here. His neck comes down like this, but he got a line that goes here, like a shadow type of a thing going on. Then he's got the inside of his collar here. This part is a little bit complicated to draw, but I'm going to show you hopefully an easy kind of a way to do it. His collar has these little textured kind of bumps going around, okay? So they start out kind of narrow at first, and then they get a little bit wider as you go around the collar. Alright, going around, and then that, when you get to that edge there where you've drawn that line, you can kind of fill in these lines that come down from those textured bumps along the collar, okay? Don't get too caught up in it. They don't have to be, perfect right now. We're still basically sketching, but this collar thing actually comes up and it's fairly wide right here. So what I'm doing is I'm sketching some guidelines for myself where I'm going to, let's put one more in here like this, and then this has a definite bottom to the collar. It's kind of like this. This line's just a tiny bit too long there, but there's a definite line to it like that, okay? And then once you come around here, then you're going to start to see the texture of the lines going inside the collar, okay? So let's get rid of these little reference lines here, like that. That actually is going to start going inside the collar. So you can draw a few lines like this, but his skin, or the inside of the collar, all this part is showing, okay? So these lines only have to go down to that particular line, like that, okay? Then it's got this, it's kind of puffy, so you draw these rounded lines to make it look puffy, okay? And then erase your reference lines or your guidelines, whatever you like to call them, and make sure everything is puffy. Puffy, 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 like that. That's a little too puffy, Miss Fink. Let's just bring down the puffiness, like that. Puffy, puffy, okay? Kind of like that. And don't forget to bring your line all the way down. Alright, so that's how you're going to do the other side of the collar as well. Alright, for me his neck looks a little tiny bit skinny, so I'm going to actually make it a little bit wider here. We don't want him to look like he's starving to death. Poor thing. Okay, like that. That looks a little bit better. Okay. What else do we have to do? We've got, oh, and I moved this symbol a little bit. I'm still not like super happy with it, but I think it's okay. But the symbol itself needs to be, this part in here is pretty dark. It's almost a black color. It's like a blackish gray. This is super noticeable, okay? Make sure it's wide enough It's actually it's like stamped into this metal. So this part goes in pretty deep in the metal there. So it's very, very noticeable, okay? And it's all like a solid color, kind of like a blackish gray. And that's like that. Let's make this a little bit more noticeable, a little darker. That's one of my favorite parts of doing a drawing, is that like when I do the outline and my shapes and all that, and I'm kind of moving around the picture here and there and doing little things, I notice things that are a little bit out of place. Like this line could go up a little bit higher, because when you've got a character's eyes, when their lower lid is pretty close to their iris, they're looking kind of like a little bit mean, or a little bit kind of like they're determined, right? I think it's a good way to show emotion. Make sure your eyes are in the right place, the right size, the right proportion. Make sure the lines aren't, that might even be too close now, but I still drew it super light so that I could go back in and change it, okay? It's not a big deal to just change it really quick like that, okay? My puffy collar thing over here, I'm going to actually start drawing my lines like this on the inside, so I know where all my inside puffs are coming from, right? Puffy, curve those lines out. These lines are curved out to the outside, curve those lines out to the outside, okay? Don't forget to add your puff. Don't forget to add your puff. And see how easy that was? Just some lines going straight up and down and then curved out, okay? And this, I'm going to kind of erase a little bit of that right there. And I'm going to go around here, make sure all these, make sure you can see it first. Miss Fink, we can't see. What are you doing? There, like that. I'm going to go around like this, get the bottom of my collar, curve, curve, curve. Okay, so now we've got the bottom established. Let's get all the lines established all the way down to the bottom, okay? These little puffs here in the front are more narrow than the ones back there, okay? That's fine. A little bit wider as we go toward the back. Let's do one more like that. And now we add our puffs here. Puff, 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 like that. Up, up, up. Little rounded shapes. What's happening here? Let's fix that. Let's get rid of our lines we don't want with my trusty little cylindrical eraser here. Okay, like that. Let's put in one more right there close to that one, like that. Okay, alright, so now we've got his collar straightened out. Oh, and he's wearing a, don't forget about his necklace. He's got this cord, and it's a dark cord around his neck. Okay, can't forget about that. Let's draw that in. There we go. Okay, we've got his collar, his necklace, his neck, chin, mouth, nose, little stripes, ears, eyes, eyebrows, hair, headband, hair. The headband also has a little bit of, in this reference drawing I'm using, it looks like there's a little bit of like a damaged spot to it there. This little rivet has like these like have darker edges on this side of the rivets, so I'm only going to go over that side and not the right side of those rivets. Same thing over here. It's kind of like where the light is coming from his right side over here, so the light comes this way. If there's little punched kind of depression holes, you know, little pressed in areas, then you're going to get the shadow on that side of it, right? Because the light is shining here, so it's going to light up that other side better. Okay, so making those a little bit better. This gets colored in a little tiny bit darker, just a little bit, not much, not much. Okay, and then I can refine my lines around here. Do like that. Do, and around. Okay, a little bit better. And then let's make sure we've got this headband. It's kind of like his trademark, right? Like that. This hair here. This here. Okay. Alright, got it. There's one more little thing here. We've got a little shaded area like that to kind of show us where his bottom lip is, and you can actually rub across that with your finger, make it a little bit darker. Same thing here with the nose. You can rub across that with your finger. See? Bring this up just a tiny bit. Go across there with your finger. It's got a shadow under here that comes down from the light shining. He's going to have a shadow under his chin, right? That his chin is creating. So if you take your pencil and barely color that, then take your finger and scrub, you get your shadow, okay? On the sides of his face, it's kind of shadowed because, especially since the light's coming from over here, this side of his face is not going to be that lit up, right? See? Also, inside that ear, not going to be all that lit up. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll come back for part 3 and do the coloring and show you how to do the metallic look here on his headband. Thank you guys so much for drawing along with me. I really appreciate it. Give it a like, subscribe, share it, all that good stuff, all that internet-y stuff, okay? Thank you. Have a great day.